Hey, what's going on, guys? You guys know that saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it? Yeah, I'm not going to listen to that today. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be finishing up my air pump delete. And if you guys remember, when I deleted the air pump last year, I left the EGR valve, or the air pump recirculation valve, whatever they call this thing, I left it in place so that I wasn't chasing like multiple problems whenever I got the car up and running. What I ended up doing is I just capped off right here and here. I capped those two things off, and the car's been running fine like that. And I should probably just leave it alone, but where's the fun in that? So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that off today. That should clean up the engine bay a little bit, and that's really the only reason to do this. So I picked up this block off plate from this company called Izzy. They also sell the air pump simulators. No affiliation or anything with them. They have some things for the S2000, so I think a couple different companies make one of these, and honestly you could probably make it yourself, but this one looks nice enough, so I just went with that one. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the old EGR valve and put this plate on here. Oh yeah, one thing to mention, when I last ordered a batch of parts from Honda, I went to order a new gasket for this thing, and it was either back ordered or discontinued, but either way it got dropped off my order. So for better or for worse, I'm going to reuse the existing gasket. So to remove this guy, there's just two nuts on this thing, two 12mm nuts. There's one right under this air inlet right here, and then there's another down in there. So they're not the easiest to get to, but not too bad. Okay, well you can kind of see down in there that the old gasket stayed on the car, so I'm not going to take it off. I'm just going to leave it as is so that I don't, you know, tear up the gasket or anything, and I'm just going to put the plate right over top of that. So whether or not that's a good idea, I'm not really sure, but since I don't have a new gasket, that's what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, and I actually looked this thing up, and it's actually called an air control valve. Whatever it is, that's been removed. Okay, that was pretty straightforward. So as you can see, got the block off plate installed down there, got everything torqued down to 16 foot-pounds. So hopefully that original gasket doesn't leak. I'm gonna go drive the car around a little bit to make sure everything's good, and yeah, I'll let you know. And I'm also going to be installing these two things. This is a VTEC oil pressure switch delete, and this is a air intake temperature sensor delete. So when you run an aftermarket ECU, the ECU no longer looks at the VTEC oil pressure switch. And when I installed the turbo kit, I installed an open air air intake temperature sensor, so it replaced the stock sensor that's in the intake manifold. So yeah, you don't really have to do this. I've been running with just the sensors still in place as is, but I kind of want to try to clean it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna get these installed today. And this actually says it's for a B series, but online it said B, D, and F, I think. So we'll see if this actually fits. And here is the intake air temperature sensor. So if you're curious, this is the new sensor down here that I installed. So yeah, we're no longer using this one. I actually extended the wire from that to go all the way down to here. So yeah, that's why this one's no longer used. And here's the block off plate compared to the actual sensor itself. The block off plate does come with a little O-ring, and it comes with Allen key screws instead of the Phillips head. It's black, so I don't really like the color, but I'll probably make sure it fits first, and then I might paint it silver so it matches. But yeah, it's just a pretty simple part there. It should work, so let's go ahead and get it installed. Okay, so and if you're curious, this is the VTEC oil pressure switch right here. As you can see, there's no longer a connector connected to it. It's kind of just ugly. Okay, so I thought it'd be easier just to pull the whole VTEC solenoid out, because this is the only 22mm deep well socket that I have that would have worked, and it was just kind of awkward getting it in there. So I got the VTEC solenoid pulled out, just 3 10mm bolts, and I got it chucked up in the vise, so it should be pretty easy to remove the sensor. There you go. So this is the VTEC oil pressure switch. Like I said, the most aftermarket computers don't look at this. So yeah, I'm just gonna set that off to the side. We'll get our bolt put in there and get it put back together. Okay, so there was a O-ring type gasket that I pulled off of that came off with the OEM pressure switch. So I'm gonna set that back down in here before I put the bolt in there, just so we don't have any leaks. And then the bolt, yeah, just goes right in. Pretty straightforward. Honda recommends 16 foot-pounds on this. All right, we're good to go. It's ready to put back in the car. All right, well, we got everything put on, and as you can see, the bolt looks pretty good in there. And there's the block-off plate for the IAT. And there's the block-off plate for the EGR valve. So yeah, everything, it's just some small details, but cleans up the bay a little bit. I might paint that silver so it matches the intake manifold, or I might just leave it that way. It actually doesn't bother me too much right now, but we'll see. But yeah, just some little details I was cleaning up today. So yeah, that's all I have for today, so thanks for watching.